Also, I wanted to ask you this. Casey wrote a great blog about the Johnny Manziel doc. Do you think conference realignment would have been this prominent if Johnny never existed? Because Texas A&M, you know how we were talking about, we were joking around, Texas A&M marooned college football.
Oh, and by the way, I don't know if it was you, Noah, who it was, but the Longhorn Network clip without the context really f***ed me up, guys. So thank you for that.
But I just want to say, I thought if let's say Johnny football did not, let's just say Texas A&M was another Missouri. Do you think it still would have been the SEC would still be as big? That's not the question. But do you think conference realignment would have changed?
I guess I've never put those two things together. I mean, watching that documentary, which I do.
Yeah, but hold on, time. They moved before Johnny was even a thing.
No, I know. But if you look at conference realignment, if Texas A&M wasn't as big of a winner in Texas conference realignment, I don't think Texas would have ever considered going to the SEC. They saw that their little brother was getting more money than them, and they were like, "What the fuck?" I think
that happens with or without Johnny, though.
Yeah. Okay, that's the question I was asking. I may not have phrased it properly.
No, so I think that the thing that Johnny did, and that people saw in the documentary, if you didn't already know, and I have some beef with it being untold, but that's a whole different conversation for later. But that A&M's immediate success, and to look back and say, okay, they lost to Florida because Cliff Kingsbury didn't give Johnny free reign to be Johnny, but then by the end of the season, you look, if they would have beaten Florida, they could have potentially been, obviously in the SEC title. I think the success in the SEC immediately is wildly different, but I think that's only for A&M. I think that's more of a conversation just for A&M, not for all of conference.
I was just thinking about that last night.
But A&M moving to the SEC for the reasons that A&M moved, just like the reasons Missouri moved, that changed everything, because it did take other schools to look and be like, oh my God, like A&M was middle of the road in the Big 12. They weren't winning shit in the Big 12 since 1998, and they were able to go make millions and millions of dollars more, and to have the visibility and play the Alabamas of the world every single year. That changed everything for sure.
I'm ready for the Swamp documentary. I haven't watched the Johnny documentary yet. I'm going to watch it, but I'm ready for the Florida Gators, Urban Meyer. I'm ready for that one.
I'm a little concerned we're almost so excited that we'll come away from it thinking, man, we didn't really learn anything. The Johnny did have some good tidbits.
See, I wrote, Brandon, I don't anticipate that you read my blog, because you're just, not a great reader of my blogs.
I don't read. I don't
think he would. Let's be honest.
He's not reading anything. But I wrote like a whole.
Put some tits in it.
Fair. I did.
What?
Well, I did.
What'd you say, tits?
I did. I put the Scooby-Doo girl. I didn't do a recap of the documentary in the blog. So if people are listening like, oh, we don't need another recap blog, I absolutely did not do that, because nobody wants to go read that. But I went and took it from my perspective of what I got out of that. It was this documentary, it should have been multiple parts. I think the biggest complaint that I've seen is that it spent too much time on his A&M time and not as much time on what happened after the NFL crashed and burned. But there were so many, as college football fans, there was so much in it about the way the NCAA was working, about how he was sidestepping the NCAA with his sidekick.
Man, I got it. Did you know the truth to this, what I'm about to say? I remember back then hearing the rumor that the reason he's got so much money is he's from a Texas oil family, and they just got money. He's a spoiled rich kid. That's just something they made up to cover up the money he was getting?
Okay, so in the documentary, Uncle Nate, his name is Nate Fitch in real life, which I don't know if I was supposed to dox him or not, but I did. No, I think they actually say it. But so there's a middle ground of that story. In the documentary, they make it seem like Johnny came from no money whatsoever, and that they made up this story to make it seem like he had money at all. There is oil money in that family. Like, if you Google it, you can look at that. But what they did was they took it and said he has fuck you oil money, so that nobody would question the private planes and the cars and all of that. So there's a whole story in there, not to spoil too much, but where Johnny calls his grandfather and says, hey, can I give you this cash? You write me a check so I can put it in the bank to make it look like you gave it to me. Because his grandfather does actually have some type of money. Now, the type of money that they pretended like he had, it was a complete lie. And it's an all-time lie, by the way, because until now, most people believe that he had so much money that a private plane wouldn't even be a drop in the bucket to his family. That part was not true.
I believed it until legitimately most it came on the documentary.
But there still is some money there. It's not like he was broke, dirt poor. Like, they do have oil, in Texas, but there is definitely an element of shock there.